But then things got dark. Things got dark when it was time to talk about when it was time to talk about Shannon Stillwell and Yak Gotti's plea. I was like, whoa, this is dark. The last two in this trial are Shannon and Yak. And it was eerie to me. It was a little eerie to me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That is for the possession, criminal street gang activity. Criminal street gang activity, which carries a sentence of 5 to 20 years.
So what's happening is the judge is just reading their charges and I guess saying like, this is what we were offering them. This is what we were going to offer them.
He was also charged with count 58, which is violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That is for the possession.
Right, marijuana.
Marijuana, which carries a sentence of 1 to 10 years. As to count 59, I believe that's a possession of codeine with the intent to distribute, which is 5 to 30 years. And count 59, which is the possession of cocaine, which is
60 is possession of cocaine.
So 59 was the codeine, 60 is the possession of cocaine, which was 1 to 5 years. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, which was count 61, which is 5 years to serve.
Attorney Love left, by the way. Y'all see her side of the table was empty. She took all her papers, she took her ball, and she went home. She didn't come. Y'all got to remember, even though they sat her down, Attorney Love is the lead attorney on this whole thing. Young Thug was the target. He was considered the leader. He was the target. Love's whole job was to take down Young Thug. And you know what happened? She let him get away. And guess what, y'all? Guess what? They will never get another chance to get him. I guarantee it. I guarantee you know what? Even the stuff that they had on Young Thug was all old. The reason they had all this old stuff because he actually stopped doing the crimes. He got away from the streets. This was their chance to get him. They failed miserably. He's home on probation now. Probation for a millionaire is completely different for a probation for a person that's indigent in jail. Somebody that don't have any money, when they go home on probation, is a whole different thing than somebody like Thug who can pay to shield himself from any bullcrap. All Thug got to do is stay busy. It'll be very easy for him to stay out of trouble. This is literally Snoop Dogg, that murder case all over again. Like you're about to see him, and Thug was already at the height of his game when he got locked up. This is not a situation like Boosie where it was like 10 years past his prime and then he got in trouble and then we all just rooting for him, all the old heads rooting for him. This is Thug was in the prime of his career. Pushing P, Too Sexy, all of that was brand new pretty much when he got locked up. So, you know, it's about the world is about to be on fire for Thug, first of all. Second of all, he probably won't even come back to Atlanta at all. He's going to come back to do his charity stuff, but he's gone. Thug is gone. They'll never get him again. It's a wrap. And Love knows that Love is like down about that. That was her whole job, was to take him down. They let all the rest of these guys out. They gave plea deals to all these dudes, let them out. Thought they was going to get Thug, and it did not work. I'm not saying Boosie was washed. I'm saying Boosie wasn't in his prime anymore. Boosie's prime had passed by the time he got in trouble. You got to think about it. When Thug got locked up, he was one of the biggest rappers at that time. Like, he was active. Like I said, Push and P was huge. Right? Too Sexy was huge with Drake and Future. That was a huge song. Thug was big at that time. Very big at that time. You know what I'm saying? Thug was on a 10-year run, like an 8 to 10-year run when he got locked up. And it was active. It's a completely different situation than Boosie and Gucci. Like, whole different.
Consecutive to any count indictment, possession of a machine gun, which was count 62, which was 10 years to serve consecutive. And then he was charged with count 63, which is possession of a firearm by convicted felon pursuant to 1611-133. I know my math isn't the best, but that's life plus some years. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, was for Mr. Kendrick to plead to count 1, conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, which was 20 to serve 15. Count 2, the murder reduced to voluntary manslaughter, 20 years to serve 15. And then to the gang count
57.
57, also 20 years to serve 15, all to run concurrent, and the state was willing to null pros all the other counts in the indictment.
All right. And Mr. Kendrick and the attorneys associated with you, I want to make sure that y'all know that unlike what happened with Mr. Williams.
Hold on. Now, this is cold, right? Whitaker is pretty much giving them a warning. Don't think, because of what y'all just seen with Mr. Williams and these other co-defendants, that it's going to work out the same way for y'all. It might not work that way. And if y'all come in front of me for sentencing, I'm gonna fry you up. Don't even worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I'm going to fry you something serious. That's what Whitaker is, that's what Whitaker is telling them right now. A warning.
Williams, if you plead non-negotiated to less than all of the charges, there is nothing that the court can do if the state chooses to go forward with some of those charges. So you could not do what Mr. Williams pled guilty or nolo to each of the charges that he was facing. You cannot say, well, I'd like to plead guilty to count 1 and I'd like to plead to the reduced charge on count 2. And then I'd like to just skip the rest of them, because the state can say, well, we're not skipping the rest of them. We're still going to try you for the rest of them. And the state can also say, we're not okay with letting you plead to voluntary manslaughter unless you abide by the terms of the agreement. We're going to go forward with the murder trial. So I know that Mr. Weinstein, you and Mr. Apt and everybody else who's been helping know that. But because things seem to have worked out sort of beneficially for some of these other people who have already pled, y'all might think, oh, well, gosh, can't we do something better than that? Given what you're facing, they hold a lot of the cards, and a lot of it is outside of the ability of this court to change, okay? All right.
We understand that, Your Honor. Thank you for advising us of that.
All right, Mr. Stillwell is facing...
Your Honor, Mr. Stillwell is also looking at count 1, which the conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, which is 5 to 20 years. He is facing 2 counts of murder for count 2 and count 49, which each carries a sentence of life imprisonment. He's also charged with count 50 of this indictment, Your Honor, which is participation in criminal street gang activity, which carries a sentence of 5 to 20 years. He's also charged with count 51, participation in criminal street gang activity, also a sentence of 5 to 20 years. Count 52, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, previously convicted under 1611-133, which is 15 years consecutive to any count in the indictment. 54, possession of a firearm during the
Oh, there go Love. She came back.
commission of a felony, which is 5 years to serve consecutive. Count 64, which is another possession of a firearm by a convicted felon under 1611-133, which is also 15 years to serve consecutive. So Mr. Stillwell's looking at maximum of 2 life sentences plus
85 years.
Plus 85 years, Your Honor. The state's recommendation, and I'll just say globally, Your Honor, was 60 years to serve 40 years in prison, that we would have reduced both of the murders to voluntary manslaughter, Your Honor. And we had given his attorney the option to kind of craft how that 40 years would look. But that was the extent to our negotiations, Your Honor.
They told that man his deal was 60 years to serve 40 for some murders that they didn't prove. Who would sign a deal like that? They're making it seem like he's just going to get up there and admit to the Donovan Thomas murder. They have not proven that at all, not even come close to proving that. And they're saying that there's no evidence with the Chamel drinks besides the fact that he was at the same gas station shortly before. So they wanted him to plead to something that they have like, now we went through so many witnesses in the Donovan Thomas killing. Nobody has shown any evidence that Shannon Stillwell had anything to do with it, except for the fact that Woody said, they told me they did it. And he changed that when he got on the stand. So who would plead guilty to that? That don't even make no sense. Who would take a deal like that? She like, yeah, we're going to drop him in voluntary manslaughter. That's still saying that I killed him. I'm not saying that.
And Mr. Stillwell, kind of the same information to you. If the state does not want to reduce charges, you're not entitled to plead to reduce charges. They can say, you got to face these murder charges and we're going to make it a jury trial if you don't agree to what we're all.
I want y'all to realize too, The state was sitting there going through the plea motions. They got contacted by Fonnie. Fonnie said, we're done. We're done negotiating. Take the plea deals off the table. They expired yesterday.
Offering. Same thing, you can't say, well, I'd like those other charges dismissed if they're not willing to dismiss them in exchange for the negotiated sentence. So obviously, each of you has the right to continue with the trial. What you're doing, you are all have very capable attorneys representing you who clearly care very passionately about you all personally, as well as presenting your best case. But it's ultimately going to be up to the jury, and you cannot know what any jury is going to do. And they may say, I don't believe a single bit of this beyond a reasonable doubt. Y'all are both walking. They may say, you know what, I buy this, I don't buy that. I'm convicting you of 4 of the 5 or 4 of the 8 charges. You're still then going to face sentencing. They may convict you of everything. And if you are convicted of everything, Mr. Stillwell, you're facing 2 life sentences plus 85 years on top of that, as opposed to 40 years to serve with parole as a possibility. And Mr. Kendrick, you are facing life plus, I think I added up 115 years instead of 20 to serve 15. So it's just something to think about. And I mean, it's already past 5 o'clock. So are y'all going to leave the offer open until you have withdrawn the offer before you even put it on the record to?
We communicated this to them last night, but they did not accept it. They would have withdrawn off.
All right, well, given that the state spent the entire day negotiating Mr. Williams' plea, ultimately unsuccessfully, I don't know if either Mr. Weinstein or Mr. Sharp would have been able to negotiate with you during today.
They would have, no, we didn't have any communication from Mr. Weinstein or Mr. And they rejected the offer.
Okay.
I did have communication with Mr. Abate today. I attempted to have communications with the DA last Tuesday morning, but she failed to show up for our meeting.
Any chance y'all might leave it open until 9 o'clock tomorrow?
Your Honor, I'll consult with the DA and.
Hey, Love, you ain't said nothing in an hour. The judge said, can y'all leave it open till tomorrow morning? Love snatched the mic before Hilton even could say something. Come on, Love, what's up with it? Love is pissed. She want to cook something. Love want to cook something. She ain't come to play.
Open until 9 o'clock tomorrow?
Look at that mic snatch.
Your Honor, I'll consult with the DA and if she wishes to read.
Okay. I mean, I have no idea whether they'd want to keep it, but I haven't, we haven't put it on the record, and I haven't ensured myself as the court that they understood what the potential sentences were up until just now. So I would appreciate it if she would, so that they have the opportunity, having heard from the court, to talk to their attorneys. And they may still say that we're good, we're going forward, but.
We'll consult with the district attorney. But
Okay, so we are in a petty battle right now, right? So while Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, was being sentenced, the state asked if Miss Edmonds, who was Donovan Thomas's mom, could give a victim impact statement, pretty much like come speak and, talk about the impact of his killing. The judge said he wasn't charged with that, and y'all didn't prove that to be factual, so we're not going to let her speak, because that's something that you do after a conviction happens, after a jury finds you guilty, and then we're going to do sentencing, and then you give the impact statement between conviction and sentencing, or between the verdict and sentencing. So then Fonnie Willis comes back, or Fonnie Willis contacts them and says, hey, let her know that it's coming directly from me to please let Miss Edmonds come up there and speak. If y'all remember, when they first got indicted and arrested, Fonnie Willis went publicly everywhere saying, I'd spoken with Donovan Thomas's mom, and I assured her that we're going to get the killers of her son. That was a part of the rollout for this indictment. She made it all about Donovan Thomas's mom. She made the whole thing about Donovan Thomas's mom at first. That was how she rolled it out. So now, because Young Thug is being sentenced, now it's like, hey, let her speak. The judge said, hey, I like the little argument you put together through Fonnie Willis, but I'm going to stick to what I said. No, it doesn't fit here. Y'all can bring her back when it's time, like when y'all get a conviction, when y'all get a real conviction, not a plea deal. Y'all didn't prove that thing to be truthful. Plus, he's not even charged with it, so let it go. So now they withdraw the plea deals, and the judge is saying, can you ask DA, can y'all consider letting this thing be back open until tomorrow, which would have been Friday? And Love snatches the mic and says, I'll consult with Madam District Attorney and see if she's willing to. So now we're in a situation where you want District Attorney to do something just an hour after you didn't do what District Attorney wanted you to do. She's definitely going to deny. She's not going to open that plea deal thing back up. That's first. So now we having a petty off, right? But guess what? The judge can be the most petty because she has the power to grant a mistrial. So if Fonnie Willis wants to have a petty off, and now you have this person, Shannon Stillwell, and you have Yak Gotti sitting here, Mr. Diamante Kendrick, guess what Whitaker could do at the next first sign of prosecutorial misconduct? Because when they start this trial back up on Monday, it's not a new trial. It's the same trial, and all the infractions on the state's parts still count and can still be held against them going forward. Anything that they do sideways, when Sharp stands up, because this is our new courtroom right here. The defendants are going to be sitting up front just like that. There's no whole gallery that we got to look at. This is our new trial, what we're looking at right here. Weinstein and Sharp are about to blitz the state with motions for mistrial, for recusal, for all type of stuff. So if Fonnie Willis want to play the hardball game with the judge can get the last laugh. This is something that the state needs to realize. So I asked y'all to keep this plea deal open because I mess with my man Sharp. I like Sharp. I want his client to be able to say yes or no. You're not even giving him the chance to say yes or no. You done took the thing off the table. I didn't even know what the deal was. I'm asking y'all to open it back up. You talking about you're going to talk to the district attorney. Why? To give them another 24 hours, you got to get district attorney approval? Whitaker is like, do y'all want to play this game with me? Is this because Whitaker can wipe the state out if she wants to? Whitaker can make it so they can never bring these charges up again if she wanted to. So the state is playing a dangerous game with this one. Now, Love thinking that they're going to have the upper hand with this plea thing is kind of crazy to me. Like, honestly, it's very crazy because Whitaker don't like Love anyway. So I don't know, snatching the mic and you being the one to talk when Hilton was doing very well herself, I don't understand why y'all want to play this game with Whitaker. This is what I don't get. These deals that we just seen this week and the sentencing of Young Thug to get no prison time should tell the state Whitaker is on her last. They on thin ice. The state is on thin ice. Whitaker wants to be home for Thanksgiving. She don't want nothing to do with this trial. I'm telling y'all, she wants out. So the state keep playing if they want to. All right. That's all. That's what I got on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think. The state is on thin ice. Love is on the thinnest of ice. So she should probably stop grabbing microphones. Honestly, she should probably just stick to writing notes and whisper in her ears. She needs to stop grabbing mics. They are going to. Her arguing the Young Thug thing is probably the reason Whitaker let him out. Honestly, she does not mess with Love. It's been shown too many times. So, they should, I think Miss Jasmine Knight and Miss Love should switch seats. I'm gonna be real. Like, just, you go in the back, let Miss Jasmine Knight come up front. Don't even say nothing else. That's what I think right now. All right. So yes, Chaz, the trial is going to continue on Monday. Monday morning, they are going right back into this trial. The jury is going to be very confused. But really, we know that the jury done see it's unavoidable to figure out what's going on. So the jury is going to know what happened. I've seen people talking about what was Shannon Stillwell's best move going forward. I mean, I thought Shannon Stillwell had the hardest fight. I thought Max Shard had the hardest job out of all of these attorneys anyway from the beginning, because Shannon's name is in everything. Huey was facing all of that time, and they still let him out with only 9 years, yet they wanted Shannon to do 40 years in prison. They wanted him to take a plea deal to do 40 years in prison. And they talking about Mr. Shard can figure out how they want to do the 40 years. Who would take a deal like that? It's just dumb, right? But Max Shard has the hardest job, period. Like, Shannon's name is in literally everything. Since 2015, when he first met Thug, his name is in everything, right? So they also want him. Like, they want him locked up. They don't want him free. However, because the evidence is so weak, and because we're dealing with a 9-year-old murder and we're dealing with a 5-year-old murder that the state has never been able to convict on, it wouldn't make any sense ever for Shannon Stillwell to take a plea deal that makes him agree or plead guilty to those murders, to those killings. In any fashion, involuntary, voluntary, any way, it wouldn't make sense. The state doesn't have evidence at all. If they did, there wouldn't be a RICO case. There would be murder cases and they would have convicted him already. Shannon is the one person that they charged from the beginning with the Donovan, not the beginning, but early on in the Donovan Thomas murder, and have been going after him specifically the entire time. They really never let it go. They think Shannon is involved. Actually, they think Shannon was the actual shooter. They think he's the one that popped out the sunroof and did the shooting. So he's somebody that they do not want to let go for this thing. But I think they don't have any evidence of it, and I think they failed at proving it. So, and I think from what I'm hearing, the Shamel Drinks murder has even less evidence than Donovan Thomas murder has. So he's probably going to beat those murder cases he's probably going to beat those murder cases with the jury if he don't get a mistrial before that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm hearing that the Shamel Drinks family came out and said they think the state is wrong for even charging them because the evidence is so weak. If the victim's family said that, then the state is completely out of pocket. Like, that just don't even make no sense, right? I'm not saying Shannon is who killed Nut. I'm saying that the state has not let it go. They think that he's part of it. They think he's the one that did it because he's been the consistent person they've been charging since 2015. You understand? So I think Yak and Shannon have a good chance of getting a non-guilty. Red Nico, I don't know. I've been seeing rumors that Shamel Drink's aunt came out and said that that there wasn't good evidence, that they didn't believe, that they was charging the right people, pretty much. I didn't see it. That's not a quote from me. I don't know. Oh, they said the aunt was on Miss Sylvia's joint. Okay. So yeah, I think Shannon and Yak are good taking it to trial, honestly. Not taking it to trial, but taking it to the jury, letting the jury make the final decision. Because I think the jury also is still annoyed with the state. Like, we forgetting all of that. The jury is still pissed off at the state. You understand? So, Trey said they pulled up the drinks at the light. SB pulled off, but drinks never did. Yeah. But they say that they didn't see any flashes of light. Like, they didn't see anything that looked like gunfire coming from the car. That looked like that they shot the car up. So the evidence is weak. So yeah, there's no way that you pleading guilty to any of that.